the child of the opportunity of interaction with siblings, same age, okay, in the house itself. Nowadays, interaction with cousins, relatives, neighbors is less. So in the same family, if there are brothers and sisters, the child automatically has same age group company. Now, more and more families are becoming single child family than ever before. Right? You agree with me? We may realize that this is the truth. And for the child is having more and more extended childhood. That is, if you feel that the child is a child and you are feeling more and more that the child is vulnerable and fragile, the more you are protective, the more the child will not grow up into being a adult. So if your childhood phase was supposed to be over at 9 or 10 years, it became extended to 11 or 12 years, and gradually it has gone to 15 and 16 years. Our own Indian philosopher and author and guide by the name of Kabir had written that Garib ka beta, Garib ka bachcha jaldi bada ho jata hai. Because he learns from the rough and tough ways to become smart faster. They are street smart. They'll learn to cross the road faster. They'll learn to feed themselves faster. They'll learn to cope up with the things faster. Compared to this, if you're overprotective, wouldn't the child remain in childhood for longer? So this is what even Frank Furedi is saying. And the same thing Kabir told us in another way. He said, necessity is the mother of invention. The poor man's child perforce has to mature faster. Very often they have to start earning faster also. Okay, so if they have to do work to earn, they'll mature faster. They are robbed of their childhood. And what the overprotective parents are doing? They are extending the childhood even when the child is supposed to have become beyond childhood. When he's supposed to become a teenager or a young adult, we are yet protecting them as children. Right? Now this makes a lot of sense. Right? And we are confused in our over anxiety. On the one hand, and the more and more reading that we do on this subject, the more and more conflicting views that we get. More and more conflicting views we get. Some books, some schools of thought, some programs will tell us that very dangerous for the children to be out. As it is, both the parents may be working, and as it is, it may be a single child. So they will give all precautions, caution against child going out. You know, the dirt and the filth may cause infections. The traffic is dangerous. Strangers are risky. So if your child is outside, anything may happen. So that the parents come to the conclusion that outdoor is dangerous for my child. And when you come to that conclusion and keep the child indoors, you know that you have robbed the child of the fresh air and the adventure that is associated with outdoor sports and hiking, etc. And then you keep your child indoors, and therefore the parents today are confused, because when they read about indoors, they come across equally negative points about indoors. Okay, so if the child is enclosed indoors, then he will grow up to a sedentary lifestyle, which will be extended later in his age also. Okay, they will be only passively becoming couch potatoes, watching TV, and the perils of the internet with all the sites that they will get addicted to. Okay, so they don't know whether outdoor is good or indoor is good or a combination is good. And this age and time, the parents are getting more and more confused, and programs on it, articles on it, books on it, magazines on it are not in any way helping. They are making the parents even more confused. Okay. Similarly, like Frank Furedi, who wrote Paranoid Parenting, some English authors, Meg Sanders and Annie Ashworth, they've written The Madness of Modern Families. And this book, when you read it, this madness of modern families is nothing but parenting that they are referring to. They are saying that normally rational, intelligent parents are behaving very funnily in today's generation. They are almost neurotic and irrational when it comes to their behavior with children. Okay, so on the one hand, the parents think that it's good to be pushy with the children. Make him do that one extra subject rather than what the school is told. If the school gives an option, make the child go through one extra language, one extra subject. Make the child do all the possible sports possible. And, you know, at the same time, swimming also and skating also and cricket also. Push the child. And the child will excel because the child will get very good training. And on the other hand, they read articles that it's better for the children to have a carefree and a relaxed and an enjoyable childhood. So they get confused. They don't know whether this is good or that is good. And as a result, pushing the children and all for that extra subject and all, they are also over anxious. And this madness of the modern family, they say, goes like that the parent is so anxious that the child should do well, that the parent has started doing the child's homework which the child herself or himself is supposed to do. And they will try to imitate the handwriting as if it is of a child, you know. The parent will not write his or her handwriting. They will put a ulta E or make it a little rough handwriting like a child's handwriting, so that the teacher doesn't discover that it's an adult who wrote it. So if you're doing the homework for your child, how is it going to help? But the parent is anxious that no, my child should be first in the homework. The neighbor's child should not come first. Okay, so let me do the homework for the child. Then if there's a fun sports day where parents are also coming, their parents may be told to do a spoon and lemon race. So the parents have started practicing that, so that other parents say, I should come first. So ghar pe practice karenge. Or if there is a picnic for children from a Mumbai school going to Lonavala, the children are going in the bus and some of the parents have started following in the car. In what way does it help? Making yourself over worried, over anxious. All these are happening today. Therefore, Meg Sanders and Annie Ashworth call it the madness of modern family, namely parenting. Okay, so they are saying that this is very much under observation and it is going more and more. And Frank Furedi writes that in the more advanced Western societies, parents are anxious about the children, about just about everything. And Indian society, Indian parents are aping the West. Till now they've not caught on to over anxiety on everything. But as an observation on Indian society, Indian parents, he said Indian parents are particularly over anxious about three things about their children, which they need not be so over anxious. One is about eating habits of the child. How much the child is eating. Khaya kya, doodh piya kya, wo bahut zyada tension lete hai. Okay. Second is about education and what courses they are choosing. They are over anxious. What my child will do? Will he be a lawyer? Will he be a doctor? Will he be an engineer? Bahut zyada they get themselves meddled into it too much. And the third observation is on matrimonial alliance. The parents in India want to get involved in the matrimony of the children much more than what is normal standard limits that should be. So on these three observations, Indian parents he find, but counterparts in the Western side are anxious about everything, are much more on that anxiety level, and hopefully we will realize that children will thrive best when left to be allowed to learn on their own and experiment with things and discover truth for themselves. And when we become relaxed and carefree in that, he says it would be better rather than aping them than to realize it like that let the child be let alone and learn for themselves. They have a right to make their own mistakes and to discover things that way. And we should be comfortable at that. Okay, because our over anxiety will pull them back from their potential. He says that our worries are self-fulfilling prophecies. We are worried, ye aisa hoga, aisa kharab hoga, aisa karega to girega, chikkad mein bimar hoega. Those things will all become true. Okay, and similarly, our self-confidence, our optimism, our positivity, our exuberance will also be self-fulfilling success story. So think optimistically, and that's what will happen. Your outcomes will be dependent on whether you are a worried person or you are an optimistic, exuberant person. Okay? The outcomes are more likely to be predicted by your mindset.
Do you think the parents should give freedom to their children?
Very definitely. And for this reason itself, after these points, these books and all, my topic is the philosophy of good parenting. And when you look at it as the philosophy, you'll realize that all these things become clear. You don't have to see a program. You don't have to next read a book on this topic. You will just understand it from your mind and from your heart. And that experience I want to share with you. See, he says that more and more, even Frank Furedi says, more and more syndromes are being named as if it's a sickness for the child. If the child is not strictly within standard, if a child is more active than normal, or the child is more shy, okay, or the child is more sensitive, or the child is more reserved, under any circumstances they want to say the child is not normal. And they want to then give some treatment to the child. Sometimes counseling, sometimes mixed with some medicines also. They say that if in this age and time, Van Gogh, the great celebrated artist, or Albert Einstein, the genius scientist, would have been born and would go to schools, they would be treated as not normal. And they would be medicalized. And thus stunting the potential of their genius. So please remember that we have to be not worried. We have to be more spontaneous in our approach. We don't want to learn from books how to smile to the child and how to embrace the child. We want to do it as per our feelings. Na? Would you like to lead from books that is it better for the child to be lying on its back or to lie on its stomach, or leave that for the child to learn and for us to... It is obvious that we have to do these things intuitively, with a lot of love, with a lot of care, and with a lot of time that we should give to the child in the growing up age. Okay, some of the problems are because we are not giving time to the child when the child requires it. And that's absolutely necessary. And coming to Albert Einstein, not only was he a scientific genius, he was also a literary genius. And he said, and I quote, "There are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle." So, see the small things in nature and adore them and become cheerful and be careful and don't be over anxious, because that's not good for the child. It definitely does harm to the child. Okay, and even Hindi philosophy says that don't worry about the outcomes. Uska kya hua, kya career hua, because that will be determined on itself. The child has the potential. Don't be overprotective. They said in Hindi, "Poot kapoot to dhan kyun jode, poot sapoot to dhan kyun jode, poot kapoot to dhan kyun jode." Sapoot means good child. Kapoot means someone who will become a waster. Because if it's a good child, good daughter or son, will learn how to cope up with situation and how to earn money and how to live a good life. And if the child turns out to be a waster, then how much ever you've saved for him or her will go wasted only. Okay, so yours is not to worry about, they will take care of themselves. And then when I did this reading, how many of you have heard of a philosopher, in fact a poet, a painter and philosopher by the name of Khalil Gibran? Any of you rings a bell? Khalil Gibran? Khalil Gibran is a Syrian born, then he took up American citizenship, great painter, great poet, and a fantastic philosopher. And he's written on all relationships. Relationship between wife and husband, relationship between employer and employee, and various other relationships. And one of the relationships that he has dwelled on is the parent and the child. And he's written so well on it that we will spend some time today, most of the remaining time, on interpreting a poem that Khalil Gibran wrote and understanding the meaning to it, and understanding for ourselves and for any child of any age and any parent of any age, maybe even a grandparent, okay, to understand that what is the relationship between a parent and a child. And once you understand that, you will find all other articles, books, programs on this meaningless, because then you've understood it philosophically. You understood the meaning of that very important relationship of a parent and a child. You've understood